And Namaskar, Ashwini,
Namaste.
and welcome to all the viewers watching this program and the listeners. We are back for our monthly series on Kabiriyat, the philosophy of Kabir Sahab, explained to us by Ashwini under the name Kabiriyat. So, without further ado, Ashwini, it is over to you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Manoj.
Mm-hmm.
And it's such a pleasure to continue this program of the Kabiriyat
Yes.
and, continuing the poetry um, and, uh, and the philosophy discussion.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a great pleasure. So today we are going to talk about, just a second, okay? Today we'll talk about another poem by Kabir, and this poem has been described as a doha. So normally a doha is a couplet, it has only two lines. In this poem, there are about 6 lines. So it's possible that this is a collection of 3 dohas together, or it could be sort of one poem. But they all sort of talk about the same topic, which brings me to our topic today, which is the importance of breathing.
Wow.
And
Importance of breathing.
yeah, and we see the reference to breathing in Saint Kabir's philosophy in many poems.
Yes,
Like,
yes, yes. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, do you remember one of the last poems we did about Sukha Sagar mein aaiye?
Yes, 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 yes,
Yeah, that also has some reference about
yes,
Pile Swasu Swasa.
yes. Bile Sasuswasa. Yes.
Yeah, and how breathing is really important.
In fact, there
So,
is another poem of Kabir Sahab
uh-huh,
that I had heard. Ajpa jap bhayo he sadho, or on
uh-huh,
those lines.
right.
So even in this poem that you're going to tell us about, that
Hmm.
I think there is a mention of a
Yeah, there
similar
is a
word. So
mention of
yes. So
Ajapako Karajap.
yeah,
That's true.
yeah.
So, breathing is a very, very important topic, and
Oh yeah.
breathing is also related to meditation. So, we are talking about meditation, but we are talking about it sort of in very basic terms. Um, and the um, and the fun part about this poem is that it's taken from a book called Paramartha Sopan, which has been compiled by Professor R.D. Ranade. Uh, Professor Ranade was a vice chancellor of the Allahabad University. He was a prolific author of many books on philosophy and spirituality, and he was also a founder of the Adhyatma Vidyapit, or the spiritual university at Nimbar in Karnataka. And that university still attracts thousands of followers from all over the world. So Professor Ranade was mostly known as Gurudev Ranade to his followers.
Yes.
And the book Paramahansa Subhan is a collection of various poems by various Hindi saints, which were gathered by him from the local people who sang these devotional poems. And during his stay in Allahabad, he would just basically ask people to sing the poems that they knew, and then that was his way of collecting the poems. So we see sort of the oral tradition on display, because a lot of these poems were collected by people who had learned it from their parents and their parents. So we have a big collection in this book called Paramartha Sopan, which is sometimes hard to find in other books. So the poem goes like this. It says, "Shwasa shwasa para har bhajo, vrutha shwas mat khoy, shwas birana pahuna, ana hoy na hoy. Swasa ki kar sumirani, ajpa ko kar jaam, परम तत्व को ध्यान धर सो हम आप ही आप कबीरा माला काठ की बहुत जतन का फेर माला सांस उसास की जामे गांठन मेर."
Uh-huh.
So the translation in English is my attempt. So as
Yes.
always, it's a feeble attempt. So if I make any mistakes,
No.
it's all my fault.
No.
So the translation is take care of every breath and pray to God in each breath. Do not let a single breath go waste. A
Mhm.
breath is a strange guest, as it may or may not come again.
Yeah.
Remember the breath and remember to meditate continuously with each breath.
Wow.
When you remember the ultimate reality, Paramatattva or Brahman, then becoming one with Brahman happens all by itself.
Wow.
Kabir says that the string of wooden beads is difficult to move through the fingers, but the string of inhaling and exhaling is relatively easy as it has no dips or mounts.
Aha.
Isn't it
Nice.
beautiful?
Beautiful. Beautiful. I
Yeah.
think that was a wonderful translation for the last line that you did.
Oh, thank you.
It has no dips and
Mounds.
mounds.
Like,
Mounds.
Mounts,
Oh,
like
T is mounds. Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
like a
Okay.
small mountain or something.
Oh. Okay.
Like,
Okay. Oh,
when you're trying to move through the Rudraksha beads in
I
our
see.
hand,
I see. Huh.
they're very rough. And
I see. Huh.
it's
Huh. Huh.
like what Saint Kabir is saying that they're difficult to move through the fingers.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
but if you
Wow.
just focus on inhaling and exhaling, it's very
But then
easy.
that's the interesting thing, right? Some see
Mm-hmm.
all these concepts that these great saints have
Mm-hmm.
uh, explained to us or have tried to explain to us.
Mm-hmm.
Technically speaking, they are very very easy.
Yeah.
But when it comes to actually following them, that's
Mm-hmm.
where the problem starts, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, the
I mean, as they
implementation
say
is
that
very hard.
just sticking to the basics can be so difficult most of the
Yeah.
times.
Yeah.
We do all the difficult things perfectly.
Yeah.
We invent many things. We go berserk in terms of technology, and we do all sorts of things, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing against them,
Yeah.
but simple thing as to watch your breath,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Watch your breath.
Yeah.
So even when you're not speaking or singing or using your voice,
Mm-hmm.
even then,
Mm-hmm.
just in silence, to be able to watch your breath.
Mm-hmm.
Now, seemingly, it seems pretty simple.
Yeah.
And technically speaking, it is. I mean, well, watch your
Yeah.
breath, right? So,
Yeah.
but then that's exactly what we don't do.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So Saint Kabir sort of like talks very gently to us,
Yeah.
for example, Rudraksha beads are difficult. It's such a gentle message, to say uh,
Yeah. I
breathing
mean,
is easy. I mean, it's like, he's
correct.
expecting all
No,
kinds of
so in this
problems.
one, of course, he talks much gently, but
Yeah.
many a times I have always felt his messages like a slap.
Yeah.
Especially in the last antara when he says
Yeah.
many of those things.
Yeah.
He basically just drives home the point with an
Yeah.
absolute slap.
Yeah.
Hey, सुनो भाई साधो, you know, मैं तो हूँ विश्वास में, or all those things that
Yeah.
he says.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah,
so,
you see some amount of frustration at times because
oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
it's like I've been telling you for hundreds of
ages
times.
and ages, yeah,
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 just get the message.
yes,
But in this poem, it's very very gentle, like
yes,
seriously gentle.
yeah,
And he says, Kabira mala kaat ki bahut jatan ka pher,
mm,
meaning Kabir says that the wooden beads are a lot of effort to do. So
right,
that's very beautiful. It's like,
yes,
whereas the beads of just inhaling and exhaling, and of course, here the beads are just an analogy. It's not
right.
like when we exhale
And
and.
also, I think what happens is it's about uh, going from concrete to abstract,
Right,
right? So
right,
when you have the beads in your hands, you're actually seeing them. You have them
right,
in your hands,
right,
so you can see them move,
right.
right?
Hmm.
Whereas with breathing,
Yeah,
you're not seeing your breath. You're
yeah,
actually feeling your breath. You have to
yeah,
feel your breath,
yeah,
and that is what needs. So again, like I said, as about singing, they say that
hmm,
it can be the easiest thing, but
hmm,
it can be the most difficult thing,
right,
in the sense that anybody can hum,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Anybody can hum a song. You're doing any work,
Yeah.
or you're not trained at all,
Yeah.
but still you can at least hum a song.
Yeah.
But if you have to sing it, so many a times you hear a song and you feel, oh, this is a pretty simple song. Wow, let me just
Yeah.
try to learn it. And then when you try to learn it, that's when you realize
Yeah.
that there are so many nuances in the song. And then you realize uh, the greatness of those who created that song.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. It's like, as I say, that you have to have a good ear for singing. It's like,
Correct. So, yes, so that's exactly what it is, that it can be the simplest of things, but it can be the most
right,
difficult of things.
right.
And that's exactly what is the case with breathing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yeah,
just inhaling, exhaling, like, as Kabir Sahab says, it's pretty simple. You have to just inhale and exhale.
yeah,
But the only thing you have to do is you have to watch it. The
right.
word watch is what is important.
Yeah, yeah. Like,
कि आपकी सांस
awareness.
को आपको महसूस करना है.
Right.
सिर्फ सांस लेके, वो तो ठीक है, सांस तो सब लोग लेते हैं.
Yeah.
There's nothing great about it. Everybody has to breathe, basically.
Yeah.
But to take it to the next level, we have to watch it. We have to watch that breath.
Yeah.
And
And
that is what will take it to the next level. And that's what Kabir Sahib is trying to tell in this poem,
yeah,
as you will
totally.
explain to us.
Totally, totally. No,
Yeah.
you're quite on point. Like, Saint Kabir starts with a very physiological level by teaching us that breathing is life. And, every breath is essential because every breath supports our life, right? Supports the fact that we are alive. And then he adds, like, shwasa shwasa par har bhajo, like, remember God with every breath.
Yes.
So the meditation practice in Hinduism goes along with breath, and then there's a mantra that you take with your breath, right?
Correct. So here, actually, I want to mention here specifically that har,
Yeah.
so when he says har, it actually comes from the word hari. So basically,
Right.
it's like an upabhransh, as they say, like a
Yeah.
distorted version of
Yeah.
the word hari.
Mm-hmm.
So har meaning the supreme, as you said, like
Right, right,
har bhajo,
right,
to remember or to
right.
chant the name of the supreme.
Exactly, yeah. So
Yeah.
pray to God or chant the name of God
Yeah, yeah.
with every breath.
Yes.
And so, when we do that, then we have utilized every breath, and that's very meaningful. And
Yes.
of course, like, he says, like, there's no guarantee that the breath is going to come the next time.
Yes.
In the sense, like, he gives an analogy of a guest, that a
Yes.
breath is like a guest, and he says
Yes.
it's a strange guest that you never know when they might just stop coming or when they may not come again.
Correct. So swas birana pahuna ana hoy na hoy,
hoy.
right? Yeah.
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 So Birana is strange and Pahuna is a
Yes.
guest. So
Yes. Yes.
so a breath is like a strange guest. Ana
Yes.
hoy na hoy.
Wow.
We don't know whether it'll come again or not. But
Yes.
even the beauty of the language is so compelling.
Yes.
Ana hoy na hoy.
Yes.
I just love the Hindi poetry of Saint Kabir because it's like, you even when you just speak it, it sounds very musical. And when we hear it from you, Manoj, it sounds even most wonderful. So then, after talking about the physiological level, the poem talks about, like, how it is easy to do meditation with every breath. And here again, Saint Kabir refers to the principle of moksha, which is supposed to be the goal of every individual. And here's also, another synthesis of, like, Hindu philosophy and Muslim philosophy that you see in Saint Kabir's writing, that he always refers to the principles of the Upanishads or the principles of, like, ancient Indian philosophy, which is talking about Paramatattva. So Paramatattva is like the ultimate reality or the Brahman. And when we remember, God with every breath, then we are kind of already on to the path of moksha, because he says, like, once you just become aware of your breathing in and out and remember the God, that just takes care of all your life's needs.
Yes.
So there's nothing more to do than that. So then he covers like multiple levels, and then when he talks about breathing, which is done very automatically by our body, he's talking about a biological fact that our body intends to survive, and to survive they have to, the bodies have to breathe. And so the breathing actually is taken care of by the body, whether we are aware of it or not, sort of,
Right.
at a mental level.
Right.
But when we are aware of it, then sort of like, it can just lift us beyond all our miseries, our problems, and it takes us all the way to moksha.
Yes.
So now, meditation has become such a big deal in the modern world, here in the West, also in India, and just in most places.
Mm.
So there's a lot of scientific research that's also taking place,
Hmm.
to sort of like show what does it do,
Mm.
how does it help people. And there's a lot of scientific advances that are sort of like are very evident now to people. So
Mm.
the research shows that breathing can have really beautiful results on our mind and body.
Mm.
It has a lot of benefits. It helps us gain a new perspective on life. It helps us deal better with stress. It increases our self awareness. And when we breathe with mindfulness or with awareness,
Mm.
then we kind of, sort of become in touch with our own feelings and thoughts.
Mm.
And especially if we close our eyes, then the thoughts sort of like, come in the front of sort of the movie that we see in
Right.
front of us. And then we realize that this is how we feel or this is how we think. Because
Right.
sometimes we just have knee-jerk reactions to whatever the other people are saying,
Right.
which can be thoughtless remarks or something. But when we sit down and we, sort of get in touch with our own breathing, then we realize, like, what are our deepest thoughts, our deepest fears, our deepest feelings. So, what this awareness of breathing does is that it reduces our negative emotions by becoming aware of what we are thinking. It increases imagination, creativity, also our patience and tolerance. It also teaches us what's essential. And all
Yes.
of these things sort of like, really help us get over the mental and physical pain. And this has
Absolutely.
been proven so many times now, like, even doctors happily suggest or recommend that the patients do meditation to,
Absolutely.
deal with the pain.
In fact, the very common thing that all gurus have said is whenever you have negative feelings against anybody,
Hmm.
like, I mean, the common negative feeling is anger, right? So when you're angry
Yeah,
with anybody,
right,
just count 10 breaths,
right.
and that'll automatically calm you,
Yeah,
right?
totally.
Just
Yeah,
count 10 breaths. That's
yeah,
it. Just
yeah.
count from 1 to 10
Right,
by
right.
watching your inhale and your exhale. That's
Right,
it.
yeah. Don't look at
That'll
the
take care of it.
person. Yeah, don't look at them. Just,
That's it.
look within you and
That's
count
it.
your breaths.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Another interesting thing is, like, when we take the oxygen in, it
Hmm.
goes to our brain, and our brain also needs an oxygen. It's also an organ in our body,
Hmm. Hmm.
and when the brain gets more oxygen, it functions better,
Hmm.
and when the brain functions better, our body functions better.
True.
So it has, like, some very simple sort of facts that are connected with
Yeah.
our well-being, and it leads to basically joy, happiness,
True.
peace,
Mhm.
whatever you want to call it.
True.
And they sound like, cliches sometimes, but they are true. I
Right.
mean, they really work that way.
Yes.
So what's interesting is that all these scenes sort of like, without giving us all the details and the mechanics of our body functioning, they told us, like, in very simple words, like, what's important for us.
Hmm.
They felt the pulse of the society. They understood their problems. They understood their concerns. And they sort of like, gave us this gift, which is very important for our well-being.
Right.
And likewise in the Nimbar community as well, like, meditation takes precedence over everything else, and
Hmm.
meditation with mantra, and how we have to do that.
Right.
So it's a very simple technique, and sometimes I meet people and they say, oh, we have to, like, sign up for a meditational instructor or something,
Hmm.
and that costs money. So we don't really have time or money to do that.
Hmm.
But I think it's a very simple process. It's really just counting your breath in and
Yes,
out,
absolutely. Yeah,
and having the same length of breath when you inhale and the same length when you
correct.
exhale.
Yep,
And when you become aware of it, slowly but surely it can become more natural to you. But
sure.
in the beginning, of course, it takes effort and time.
Yes. In fact, that's why they actually recommend that uh, in the process of uh, developing breath awareness,
Uh-huh.
it is always good to learn an art like singing, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
or music,
Yeah.
because then that forces you to watch your breath all the time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
you
I
may
mean.
not be a singer per se, or you may not make it a profession or a career,
Hmm.
but it is highly recommended that everybody learns music, provided, of course, they have the basic prerequisites like rhythm, tune,
Hmm.
and all those things.
Right.
But it is highly recommended that you
Yeah.
learn some form of music at some stage in your lives.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And as a music professional, you are so much in touch with all these issues,
Yes.
right? Because when
Yeah.
you're training your students, you have to teach them so much about breath control.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. I mean, that's the main thing that I would always um, recommend to people.
Hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds great.
Good.
So do we move on to the musical part now?
Yes. Yeah. So,
Wonderful.
yeah. So this song, I mean, this poem that Ashini has been talking about uh, has been tuned in rag pilu or mishra pilu as they call it. It's a semi-classical rag and set to tal keherwa 8-beat cycle. So, Ashini, with your permission and
Oh,
the
it's a
permission from all
pleasure.
the viewers, I'd like to present this devotional song by Kabir Sahib.
Total play time 46 minutes. Chant your one chant your one level 12%. Presets. Ilusat. Total play time. Presets. Ilusat. Total play time. Selected. Mixer. Chant your one level. Safidi level. Tabler on slash off. Button. Speech off.
श्वास श्वास पर हर भजो, श्वास श्वास पर हर भजो, वृथा श्वास मत खोए, श्वास श्वास पर हर भजो, वृथा श्वास मत खोए, श्वास बिराना पाहुना, श्वास बिराना पाहुना, आना होए न होए, श्वास श्वास पर हर भजो, वृथा श्वास मत खोए, श्वास बिराना पाहुना, आना होए न होए। श्वास श्वास कर सुमीरनी, अजपा को कर जाप। श्वास श्वास कर सुमीरनी, अजपा को कर जाप। परम तत्व को ध्यान धर, परम तत्व को ध्यान धर। सो हम आपे आप, श्वास श्वास पर हर भजो। वृथा श्वास मत खोए, श्वास बिराना पाहुना, आना होए न होए। कबीरा माला काठ की, बहुत जतन का फेर। कबीरा माला काठ की, बहुत जतन का फेर। कबीरा माला काठ की, बहुत जतन का फेर। माला श्वास श्वास की, माला श्वास श्वास की। जामे गाठ न फेर, जामे गाठ न मेर। श्वास श्वास पर हर भजो। कबीरा माला काठ की, बहुत जतन का फेर। माला श्वास श्वास की, माला श्वास श्वास की। जामे गाठ न मेर, श्वास श्वास पर हर भजो। वृथा श्वास मत खोए, श्वास बिराना पाहुना, आना होए न होए, आना होए न होए, आना
Pretty Manoj, I don't have words to describe. You just took us into a different world, and the message becomes so clear with this kind of music.
Thank you. Yeah. So, yeah, sorry for the slight glitch in between.
No,
That's why I
no,
had to repeat the second part one
no,
more
no,
time.
no, not at all.
Yeah.
That is beautiful, seriously beautiful.
So,
And I hope that, we have conveyed the message about the importance of breathing.
yes, yes, yes. Yeah, yeah. Of course, this is just a start. There is so much that we need to hammer into people about the importance of breathing. So, I mean, even in terms of music, it it's so much important. And of course, not just for music, but even while we speak, or even when we don't speak.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Yeah, that's true. It's like, sometimes people say it like, okay, what happens in sleep and all. Maybe we'll get to that topic some other time.
right, right.
But even if you can remember, like, during the time when you're awake, like
Yeah,
Saint Kabir says, every waking moment, like, don't let even a single breath go
go
waste.
waste. Yeah,
It's a very, very challenging task. It's
yeah,
not easy. There's nothing easy, but even
yeah,
a little bit always helps. So
yeah,
let's start
yeah.
with as little as we
We
can and
can.
then
Yeah,
take it from there.
yes. So great. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Ashwini, once again.
It's
And
a pleasure.
uh, and of course, we would definitely love to have your feedback, listeners and viewers, about this presentation, and your suggestions. Please do come forward with them. We would really appreciate that. And of course, I'm speaking this on behalf of Ashwini also. So
Yes,
yes,
absolutely.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and please do spread this message of Kabir Sahab among all your friends. It's just our humble effort, but it's just that these uh, great preachings of Kabir Sahab and all the other saints need to be told to people over and over again, so that it kind of gets driven and drilled into their system.
Yeah, that's
So,
true. I mean, it
yeah,
has a universal message,
yes,
irrespective of any
yes,
background. And these are
yes,
universal concerns. And especially in the pandemic, if it helps anybody, then, that's,
yeah,
we'll consider ourselves very grateful, very, very blessed.
yes. So, thank you so much, Ashwini. And
Thank you.
until next month for our episode number 6,
Hmm.
everyone, stay safe, stay healthy, and happy breathing. Let's say it like that. Happy
Yeah,
breathing.
happy breathing.
Yes.
Thank you again.
Namaskar.
Namaskar.